Welcome back to another episode of the Life's Playbook podcast. This is season 3, episode 4 of the show. I'm your host, Quinn Jackson. I'm joined today by my co-host, Noah Hawley. We're gonna be talking about the NBA today. We're gonna be talking about a little bit about the Cleveland Cavaliers and a couple of these other teams that have seemed to fallen off a little bit, as well as the updated playoff standings as of right now. So, with that being said, let's get into today's episode. Again, I am your host, Quinn Jackson. Today, by my co-host, Noah Hawley. Before we get started with today's episode, make sure to download Prize Picks, the most elite sports fantasy app. If you want a chance to show off your sports intelligence. So, having said that, let's get into today's episode. Before we get started with today's episode, real quickly, one more thing. It is no secret in the sports world in general that the legend George Foreman, two-time heavyweight champ, two-time Olympic gold medalist, has passed. One of the greatest boxers and greatest athletes to ever bless America and sports in general. So RIP to him. Having said that, let's dive into today's episode. Let's start with some of these teams that have kind of fallen off as of late. Let's start with the Miami Heat. They I believe they're on a 10-game losing streak right now. They've fallen very far actually on the standings. They're now the 10th seed as of right now. The Bulls are now in prime position to make the playoffs. They are now the ninth seed. Nothing's changed between the Hawks and the Magic. The Magic are still 8 and the Hawks are still 7. But let's talk about the Heat. They've kind of fallen off far as of our last video on them. What do you think that is? What's going on with Miami?
It could probably be fatigue. There's not really much depth at a lot of those positions over there in Miami. So that could be a main reason as to why they're falling off within the playoff contention. And, if you don't have depth, then your players are going to be tired, they're going to be fatigued, and they won't be able to play at their best level.
That's probably what it is. But they're still in playoff position. They're only the 10th seed. They're in playing contention. They can still make the playoffs if they beat the Bulls. As of right now, that's where they're lined up. But that's probably what it is. I mean, them boys haven't been the same since Butler won it out. They looked good up until this losing streak. Yeah, they're still in prime position. They can still make the playoffs. They can still make the play in, but it ain't gonna be easy now. They got to figure out whatever is going on at the Heat organization. They better get it together because the playoffs isn't even that far at this point. Playoffs ain't even that far at this point. The play-in is April 15th to the 18th, so that's not even that far off. But they should regroup. Having said that, we got another team that's on a little bit of a fall off as well. I'm not calling them frauds just yet because one, they are my hometown team, and two, everybody has a slump. But the Cleveland Cavaliers are on a 4-game losing streak as of right now. They're still the number 1 seed. They have a comfortable lead over the Celtics right now. But we haven't been looking great. So why do you think that is? We haven't been looking great as of late. Is this
So
is this are we on fraud watch on this 4-game losing streak?
I want to call it fraud watch. I do believe that Cleveland is getting lenient. They made franchise history, so I feel, and then they clinched the playoff spot. So I feel like they're being lenient and laxative. Like they're not trying as they were before they clinched the playoff spot. They've been losing games. So I do believe that a lot of that is from being lenient. You make history and then you feel like you could take plays off, take days off. And if they keep doing that, they're going to be cold when it comes time to playoff time. If you're not playing like you should, then you're not going to play how you're going to play in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think we just came off a 16 game win streak. We broke our own record from the previous 15 game winning streak, but we haven't looked great. I already know what all the Celtics fans and all the media's they're immediately they're pulling out the watches. We might be on fraud watch to them, but I think we can regroup. I think the Cavs will be all right. We'll still be the number one seed heading into this year's playoffs. I think we'll regroup. I do think Donovan Mitchell's game, as of recent, hasn't been the best. I think that might be the biggest issue right now to this losing streak that we're on right now. But I think come playoff time, whoever we face from the play-in tournament, whether that be the Hawks or the Magic, but I think we'll clean it up come playoff time. But I think you're right there. I think we are kind of getting a little lenient. We're getting a little too relaxed, a little too full of ourselves right now. And Donovan Mitchell, I think, needs to step it up a little bit, not have that fall off. But come playoff time, hopefully we'll clean it up against whoever we play again, whether that be the Hawks or the Magic. I'm not calling us frauds just yet, but we'll be all right. But it's no secret that we're definitely falling out of it. And one more surprise that you kind of called earlier from previous episodes ago about the Phoenix Suns. You said the Phoenix Suns might actually slip in at least the play-in spot, and I thought the Mavericks would stay at 10, but nope, they're at 10 right now. The Phoenix Suns crept their way into a play-in spot at number 10 in the West. I didn't think it was possible given what the team was looking like, but what do you think about that? They actually might make the playoffs given where they're at.
So the Suns, they got Kevin Durant, they got Devin Booker, and they got Bradley Beal. Devin Booker's doing his thing, Kevin Durant's doing his thing, Bradley Beal's not doing his thing. But with the connection between Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they should make a playoff spot. Now the reason as to why the Mavericks aren't doing what they're doing is a guy named Klay Thompson. You know, that guy is on the roster. He's not doing what he's getting paid to do. He's not putting up points. He's not doing what he needs to do. So that's the reason as to why the Mavericks have lost their play-in spot for the play-in tournament. That's just my opinion behind all this.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of surprised me in and of itself. I thought the Mavs would hold on to that spot because they at the time they had a 4 game lead over the Suns at the time. But you're right. I mean, AD still isn't back. Daniel Gafford still isn't back. Derek Lively isn't back. At least I don't think so. Klay Thompson he's been mid these past couple of months. But the Suns are actually they're in position to make the play-in tournament. They'd be going up against the Kings who sit at the ninth seed right now. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that. But with that being said, we have the updated NBA playoff brackets. Obviously, the Cavs going over the East. The Cavs are the 1 seed. Obviously, we'd play either the Hawks or the Magic, whoever wins that play-in spot. The Celtics are the 2 seed. They would play the 7th seed, whether that be the Hawks or the Magic. The Knicks are the 3 seed. They would play the Pistons. And the 4 and 5 seed haven't changed. The West, OKC is still number 1. They might just be the best team in the NBA right now. I know I said a couple episodes back that we were the best team in the NBA, but we haven't been playing like it these last 4 games. But we'll clean it up. 2 seed is the Rockets. They would play the 7th seed, be that the Timberwolves or the Clippers. The 3 seed is the Nuggets. The 4th seed are the Lakers. The Lakers kind of fell off a little bit. Kind of surprising about that. The Lakers have kind of fallen off a little bit. Braun has been out. I understand that much. And Luka's actually been balling lately since Braun's been out. I believe yesterday was Braun's return game. They got smoked by, I believe it was the Bulls. But the Lakers have kind of fallen off a little bit. I think a couple videos prior they were top 3. I think they were the 2 seed in the West. A couple videos prior, now they've fallen to the 4th seed, and the Grizzlies have also fallen as well. What do you think is going on over there? couple teams are starting to fall off a little bit in the West.
So behind the Lakers fall off, LeBron got injured. That's their main go-to guy, but they do have Luca. Bronny James, he had a good game. 17 points. He kind of shut up Stephen A. Smith with that performance.
Yep.
But yeah, the reason behind the Lakers fall off could be King James. Without their main scorer, they're not going to put up as much as they did. And if they were to beat the Bulls when LeBron came back, that would have been good. But when you come back from injury, you're not expected to play as you were before because you took that time off. And the Grizzlies, you know, the Grizzlies don't have a lot of depth over there. They just really got John Morant. I guess they got Zach Edey or whatever his name is. But they don't really have a lot of people surrounding John Morant to help him. But John Morant's still a good player. So maybe they'll turn it around. We'll see what they can do over there.
Right now the Lakers are in prime position to face the Grizzlies right now as the fourth seed and the fifth seed. 3 seed are the Denver Nuggets. They were previously the fourth seed, but they moved up obviously from the Grizzlies and the Lakers fall off, and the Warriors have stayed the same at the sixth seed. Still got a lot of trust, faith, hope in the Warriors that they will make a deep run. I think playoff Jimmy is still a thing. Steph is actually out. Surprisingly, I almost forgot about that. Steph is out now, so this Warriors team is definitely going to be a lot different in the playoffs. But with Steph being out, I still have a tremendous amount of faith in playoff Jimmy that he will at least lead the Warriors to at least one series win. I don't know if Steph is going to be out for the entire playoffs. Hopefully that's not the case. But if he is out for the remainder of this regular season and a bit of the playoffs, I think Jimmy can lead the team to at least one series win over maybe somebody. Maybe not the Nuggets, but I think he can at least get the job done a little bit against the Nuggets. But what do you think about that? With Steph out, what are the Warriors' chances now of making a deep playoff run?
You know, Playoff Jimmy Butler is real. It's a big thing. He activates takeover in a sense once he reaches the playoffs. And you know, he who's on that roster? I don't know the Golden State roster. I'm gonna be honest with you, but Jimmy Butler knows how to work with not a lot of big names on his team. You've seen what he did with the Heat, and if Steph's able to return in time, then they can make a deep playoff run. But if not, I feel they could beat the Nuggets. I don't like the Nuggets just as much as I don't like the Mavericks, man. But hopefully Steph returns, and if not, Jimmy Butler's going to do his thing.
Hopefully the Warriors can make that a close series. If Steph was still around, I definitely would say the Warriors would make that a much closer series. But with Steph out, it's definitely going to be a lot harder. Having said that, speedy recovery to Steph. Who knows how detrimental his injury to the Warriors will be? I know the supporting cast around Jimmy is definitely going to have to step up at this point now that Steph is out. Buddy Hield's going to have to step up. Jonathan Kuminga's going to have to step up. Those guys are going to have to be great role players. Just like with the Grizzlies, you could say the same thing with the Grizzlies. Desmond Bane, he's going to have to step up. Triple J is going to have to step up as well. Zach Edey, but Steph, we'll see how detrimental Steph's injury is to the team. But I still think playoff Jimmy can at least hold it down against the Nuggets. Don't know if they're gonna win this series or not, but I think he can at least hold it down against the Nuggets. Again, everything is still the same in the East. Obviously, the Cavs. We use the Cavs, but let's talk about the Boston Celtics real quick. Let's talk about the Boston Celtics. They're currently the 2 seed right now. Currently the 2 seed. They would play the 7th seed, whether that be the Hawks or the Magic. Do you think the Celtics right now have a better shot at making a deep run in the playoffs than we do, the Cavaliers right now?
So Yes, yes, I actually do because the way the Cavs have been playing, I do believe the Celtics have a better chance at making a deeper playoff run than us, unless the Cavs can turn it around and do what they were doing earlier on in the season. Then maybe not. But eventually, if the Cavs make it past first round, they're going to eventually play the Celtics, and if it gets to that point and the Cavs don't do what they need to do, then Celtics might be in the finals again. And I'm not trying to see that happen. I'm tired of Jason Tatum. I'm tired of Jaylen Brown. So if the Cavs can turn it around, then I don't see the Celtics doing what they did last year. But if not, it's most likely going to be the Celtics in the finals.
Yeah, like hopefully the Cavs. Oh, again, hopefully we can shape things up again, get off this 4 game losing streak, and just look at it as a fluke. But I think we can still make a deep run. If we end up running into the Celtics, I think that'll be cinema to watch in the playoffs. But I gotta agree with you there. I think right now, given how we're looking and given how the Celtics are looking, I think they could definitely make a much deeper run in the playoffs than us. Real quickly, going to correct myself here. The Pacers are actually the 4th seed right now. They were trailing the Bucks all season long for that for that 4th seed, but the Pacers are actually the 4th seed right now, and the Bucks are the 5th seed. Bucks kind of falling off a little bit by the looks of it. Giannis and them boys, they must be struggling somewhere too. But yeah, the Pacers are the 4th seed right now. They would play the Bucks right now. What do you think about that matchup? You think the Bucks are falling off a little bit, or do you think if this is all if this is all cemented by come the end of the regular season, you think the Pacers have a shot at eliminating the Bucks in the first round?
Yeah. I okay. Yeah. The Pacers have I want to say a better roster, but they have a more efficient roster than the Bucks. The Bucks they got Giannis and they got Dame. Hold on, because playoff Dame's a thing too. We all see what he can do in clutch time.
That is true.
So it can go either way with those two teams, man. So it's all gonna come down to how Giannis and Dame plays against Siakam and the Pacers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Dame has been looking a little inconsistent. I'm not gonna lie as of late. Giannis, I trust Giannis to do his thing in the playoffs, but it is ultimately going to come down to Dame and the supporting cast for the Bucks. I don't know if I really trust playoff Kyle Kuzma like that, but I know Giannis is definitely going to do his thing. Dame, I'm not going to lie, in my opinion, I think he can be a little inconsistent. Not Bradley Beal inconsistent. Bradley Beal is a different type of discussion when it comes to inconsistent. But Dame, I think he can be a little inconsistent at nights too. You are right. Playoff Dame is a thing. Maybe this could be Dame's couple final rides to a chip. Maybe I will also throw in there too that the Pacers also have. You said they have a more efficient team, which I agree with you there. But they also I think another advantage that the Pacers have over the Bucks is that they're a lot younger. I would say the Pacers are a lot younger of a team, and a lot more athletic of a team. But it's going to be hard to match up, Siakam with Giannis and whatnot, the Greek freak. So that could come back to nip the Pacers in the bud. Hopefully the Bucks, just like us, can turn it around. They're kind of falling off a little bit. Obviously the Knicks and the Pistons are still the same. My opinion on the Pistons still hasn't changed. I agree with you there on the upset with the Pistons, but my stance on the Pistons hasn't changed where they're at. Has yours changed or nah? You still
No,
got them in an upset?
I still got the Pistons on the upset, man.
Yeah, but we hopefully us the Cavs again. I can't trust it enough. We get stuff done. We we get back to how we used to be. But man, I ain't gonna call fraud watch just yet. But having said that, let's talk about OKC, the number one seed. They're the number one seed in the West. I believe right now they probably have a better record than us right now. They probably have the best record
Yeah,
in the league right now. Um, but OKC 58-12. Yeah, they would have a better record than us right now. Are they the best team in not just the Western Conference because we know that, but are they the best team in the NBA? And do you think they're the team to watch out for most in this year's playoffs?
yeah, 100%. You know, they have a younger roster. They actually have a stacked roster over there in OKC with Shea and God dang, I I can't name NBA rosters off the top of my head, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, but they do have a pretty stacked roster over there. They got a bunch of young guys, and you know they're hungry. They're trying to do what they did last year and make it past what they did in the first round.
Yeah, I think OKC they've definitely with the help of our fall off our 4 game winning streak. I think OKC has definitely cemented themselves as not only the best team in the league, the best team in the West, and they might actually be the team to watch out for most in the playoffs. I understand, LeBron and the Lakers and Luka and the Lakers are a thing, and Jokic is a thing, but I mean, outside of those two teams, and possibly the Warriors as well, but outside of those 3 teams, I don't really think the competition in the West, at least compared to OKC, really stands much of a chance. The Kings the Kings are the ninth seed right now. They're 35-35, and the Mavs and the Suns. I know the Suns just barely squeaked by the Mavs, but the Mavs and the Suns are tied on records right now, 34-37. But it's still possible. It's still possible the Mavs could squeak in. That final 10th seed is going to be a little bit of a battle, but I gotta give you props there, Noah, for for having the Suns sneak in. But it's looking close in the West. I'll say that much. It's looking close in the West. To the moving on to the East, the Heat are 29-41 with a play-in spot, and the Bulls are 31-40. Do you think the path this year and the playoffs to the East is going to be nearly as hard as the path in the West is going to be in the playoffs?
Not at all. The fact that the Heat are able to make the play-in tournament with only 29 wins is actually insane. And the Western Conference, that's a lot of those teams are higher up with these wins. And I so in the West, I do feel like it's going to be a harder battle over there than it is within the East.
Yeah, it's definitely like the lowest, the worst, I'd say, playoff contention team because the Jazz are obviously the worst team in the West overall, but the worst playoff contending team is the Mavs right now, and they have a better record than the seventh seed Hawks. So it's definitely going to be. I agree with you. It's definitely going to be a lot tougher in the West as opposed to the East. Hey, for all we know, the Cavs could have a cakewalk in the East. I ain't gonna lie, we could have a cakewalk in the East, but that's if we shape up and we got to do what we got to do, and Donovan Mitchell's got to do what he does best, and that's score and have a much more efficient night shooting the ball. But yeah, I agree with you there. It's definitely going to be a much tougher path in the West than it is compared to the East. And some of these teams in the West, it's definitely a closer race as opposed to the East. I'm actually got to agree with you there too on the Heat that the Heat are 29-41, and they still have a chance at the playoffs. Whether that's a problem overall in the NBA that needs to get fixed remains to be seen because I do think it is a little absurd that a team with a severely losing record has a chance at the playoffs. But that's a discussion for another day, talking about the whole, playing tournament and whether that needs to be, pitched or not. But having said that, this has been the updated standings in the Eastern Conference and the updated standings in the Western Conference. We've gone over, the fall off of the Cavs a little bit. Again, I'm not calling fraud watch. No, I hope you're not calling fraud watch yet. but it ain't looking great. I'm not gonna lie, as a Cavs fan, it's not looking great right now. We on a 4 game losing streak, but we can clean it up. With that being said, keep an eye out on your team's playoff status right now. I know the West is a lot tighter, so y'all sit tight in the West. But with that being said, this has been season 3, episode 4 of the show. Let us know in the comments below who do you think who your favorite team is and what their playoff chances and whether you think they'll make a deep run in the playoffs or not. With that being said, we'll catch you guys Tuesday, and if not Tuesday, Thursday, for season 3, episode 5 of the show. Again, let us know in the comments below who you think how well your team is gonna do in the playoffs. With that being said, peace out.